Yo, what's up? Welcome to another week, man. Like I said, I did not expect to split this message up into two different episodes. But hey, I hope you enjoyed part one. Now let's finish part two, man. But the wilderness is a place, and a lot of people are in the wilderness is a place where a lot of us are at. And sad to say, what we're gonna learn is a lot of people died. That's why people say the most potential is at the graveyard, because there's so many people who died before their life-giving purpose. They was right on the edge of their promised land. 11-day journey, spent 40 years there. Right on the edge. All because they mishandled the wilderness, mishandled the middle. Because essentially the middle is about you. They was slaves in Egypt, and Moses came, did the plague, set them free. Then they was in the wilderness. The Egypt represents our life that we used to be stuck in. But if you have been freed from that and you're still living in that, of course you can never move on to your promised life or what's in front of you, because you're too busy looking from behind. You as in we, you as in we. Every single time, if I ever say you, I mean you as in I'm talking to myself too. Because I'm not disqualified from this whole message. I need to sit down and watch it too. But of course, if you living a life from, where you used to be, trapped in sin, trapped in your old ideologies and trapped in your old mindset, death mentality, of course you can never witness a promised life. Because you haven't sat down in the wilderness, just like Mary and Martha, the story of Mary and Martha. Jesus came to their house and Martha was just busy doing everything else while Mary was at Jesus' feet listening to what he had to say. And Martha was like, aren't you going to tell Mary to get up and do something? And Jesus was like, no, Mary is doing what's important, not what you're doing. Because sometimes it's not about do. It's not about do this to become and reach your promised life. Sometimes it's about sit. And that's the wilderness. That's your season of sitting down with God and letting him talk to you and pour love into you and change your life so you can realize the life that he has for you is so much better than your own idea that you was living in before. It's all about you. There will always be confusion on the purpose of the middle, though, when we lack intimacy with God. That's why I said it's important that we don't miss the point. Because if you miss the point, you automatically mishandle the middle. It says the Israelites was wandering through the wilderness. That means they was just living aimlessly without no type of, understanding of what's next. Let me pull out this verse. Without no understanding of what's next, or, they was just basically living, going through the motions. Are you living and going through the motion today? Could that be because you're living in a death mentality? Maybe. So in the wilderness, you got two options. You can either get closer to God, depending on God, trusting in God, get a relationship with God, or you can be distracted by other things that have nothing to do with your life or purpose with God. Two options. And the Israelites in this story, their refusal to have a personal relationship with God led to them being entertained by temporary things, which stopped them from witnessing their promised land. And our everyday refusal to have a personal relationship with God can lead us to be distracted by temporary things, which can stop us from having our promised lives revealed to us. Stuck in Ordinary. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, because that's literally what the wilderness is. A choice to be stuck in ordinary, or a choice to sit at Jesus' feet, let him change you, and not worry about what's coming or what he can give you, but let him change you so you can be a person that you're actually satisfied with waking up with every day. You know, you can be satisfied with you. But 1 Corinthians 10:6-13 says this: I don't want you to forget, dear brothers and sisters, about our ancestors in the wilderness long ago. All of them were guided by a cloud that moved ahead of them, and all of them walked through the sea on dry ground. In the cloud and in the sea, all of them was baptized as followers of Moses. Moving down. All of them drank the same spiritual water, for they drank from the same spiritual rock that traveled with them, which was Christ. Yet God was not pleased with most of them, and their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. Verse 6 says, these things happen as a warning to us today, wake up, us today, so that we would not crave evil things as they did, or worship idols as some of them did. And we must not engage in sexual immorality, nor shall we put Christ to the test. And don't grumble as some of them did. These things happened to them. This story we talking about, these things happened to them as an example for us. They were written down to warn us who live at the end of time. He said they had 5 things they got caught up in: evil desires, idolatry, sexual immorality. They tested God and they grumbled. First, evil desires. Literally stuck in ordinary, whole message. Evil desires. That's the first thing that the devil gonna test you with, is your desires. You're gonna fall out to the ones that produce fruit, or the ones that literally put you in cycles of living in the same old, following after the same old fleshly desires. Because that's one way to mishandle the middle. Idolatry. Secondly, idolatry is anything that you choose to put before God. And in my life, at one point, it was a video game at my life. And you don't intentionally do it. Say, for instance, when I used to play the game, I just used to wake up and that was the first thing I got on, play the game. But that's me choosing to put that before God. That can be social media. That can be your relationship. Anything that you say, hey, you're more important to God to me, not with your words, but with your actions. That's anything. But if you have a personal relationship with God, and this, I'm gonna give you 4 ways that you can have a personal relationship in these. You will notice that I'm fulfilled by God and only God. Truthfully, nothing else can fulfill me. So even to this day, if I get up and play the game the first thing in the morning, I'll be like, heck nah, like, I don't like feeling like this, because I felt how it feels to put God first and have my whole day running off straight fuel, versus not putting God first and have my whole day feeling like I'm trying to catch up, like I'm just running behind. Like, okay, I'm late here. I'm just waking up and I'm running. So the moments that you choose to put something before God, you're lacking fulfillment. That's what the Israelites did. They felt like Moses was taking too long on the 10 Commandments while they was in the wilderness, and they told Aaron, his brother, make us a golden calf, man. Let's worship a different God, because that God ain't on our time. Is that you in the wilderness right now? Have you came up with a different God in your head without knowing it? I'm going to spend hours on hours scrolling on social media because my life is just whatever, and I love visualizing it, what my life could be. So that has become your idol. Instead of understanding that God is my only fulfiller. Even if my life is seemingly in the wilderness and nothing is happening, I trust He's going to make a way, and I'm going to give Him all my time. Sexual immorality. The way that we can beat that is we can just trust that God knows what's best. And even through our fleshly desires that are so strong, God says you will never be tempted more than you can bear. So the moment you let yourself think, I can't handle this, I'm going to give in to it, it's the moment that you let yourself live in a death mentality of thinking, I can't do this. You back to square one, your idea of yourself, I can't do this. I can't beat this, but it says you'll never be tempted more than you can bear. So we just got to understand that if God's saying wait, or if God's saying do, and even with me, my life too, if God's saying it's not best for me to do this right now, I just got to trust that He knows best. And when you have a personal relationship, you see all the things that He's done for you. It's easy for you to trust that he knows best. It's easy. Sexual immorality. Next, he said they tested God. They tested God. See, when you test God, we're going to get into it on the next point. But you basically be like, God going to forgive me. I can do this. I just ask for forgiveness after I do it. That's testing God. That's testing God. But when you have a personal relationship, you learn to have reverence for God instead of testing God. You learn to have a reverence. Reverence is a respectful fear. You don't look at him in a way of, I'm scared to go to him. But you look at him in a way as, God, I respect you enough to not want to break your heart because I know how much you've done for me. I know how much you love me. And it breaks my heart to even break your heart. Reverent fear. That only comes through a personal relationship. Right after they told Moses, oh, no, we don't want to meet him. Nah, we good. We don't want to meet him. You just tell us what to do, what he say do, and we'll listen. Moses told them, no. You need to have a personal relationship with him because it would give you a healthy fear that allows you to keep from sinning. A healthy fear that will allow you to keep from sinning. So the moment that you choose to have a relationship with God, you will begin to grow over time. You will figure out, I don't know what it is. It's just a certain type of love that it'll break your heart when you do wrong because you know it's breaking God's heart. Compared to if you don't have a personal relationship with him, you don't really care because you haven't gained a love for him. You haven't gained that love that makes you be like, nah, I can't do this, man, just because I don't even want to. Like, I love God too. I don't even want to no more. Like, it's weird. I used to love doing that. I don't even want to. But that's the key to testing God. And they said they grumble and complain. When you have a relationship with God, you have understanding sometimes. But even in the moments where you don't have understanding, Philippians 4:7 says, peace is what God gives to those who follow him. And that exceeds all understanding. Peace exceeds all and any understanding, and that peace will guard your hearts and minds. Anytime we're complaining, we're lacking thankfulness, we're lacking gratefulness. And anytime we're lacking thankfulness and gratefulness, we just lack understanding. Like, oh man, why am I going through this? Man, you complaining about something that may be the best thing for you. And like they was complaining about being in the wilderness when Egypt was 10 times worse than where they was before. They were complaining about being in the wilderness when Egypt was 10 times worse than where they at right now. And they're like, man, why we got to go through this? Why God putting us through this? Like, why God? Like, dang. They was complaining because they lacked a personal relationship, which means they lacked understanding to see, okay, I'm going through this season right now. And like my homeboy just told me the other day, be a student of your season. The only way you can be a student of your season is to understand and have a personal relationship with God, because then he would give you knowledge. Okay, you going through this single season right now because you're broken from your last relationship and you need to be single. You're not single to be wishing for somebody else still. Or you going through this season where you're working this job right now because I need you to learn how to be disciplined and be on time, be punctual. Because once I get you out of that job and give you this calling of where you got your own business, if you still have the same characteristics of your past life, then your business is going to fail and what was a blessing going to become a burden. What's the season? Like, you're a student of the season. Be a student of the season instead of complaining. Ask God, why? Okay. Why, God? Show me why I'm in the season. Show me what I need to learn from this season. Be a student of the season. I think of it in a way of God may not even function like this, but this is how society functions. If you be so distracted with other things that you're not a student of your season, you're going to continuously fail the test that season is meant to show you. And the more you fail, you ain't getting no credit for that season. And like I said, God may not work like that at all. But what if he does? If he does, you want to pass that season, right? So you can keep on moving on. You don't want to keep being in the same exact season of your life for 10 years when it was an 11-day trip, for 40 years when it was an 11-day journey. Okay, God, what are you trying to teach me right now? Instead of me being ungrateful, let me learn. How can I be grateful right now? What are you trying to teach me right now? Show me, Lord. Show me, God. What are you trying to show me? And once you learn to be a student of that season, you will learn things about yourself that you never even really liked about yourself. Like, you don't even like how you pop off. You just do it. Let me not even get into it. You don't even like certain things that you do. You just do it because you're so accustomed. You think it's the only way you are. But once you become a student of your season where you don't have a man to pop off on, or you don't have a girl to cheat on, or you don't have, like, you learn things about yourself that help you moving forward. So instead of grumbling and complaining, you learn to be understanding. And even through seasons where you're not feeling like, I don't really want to be single, God gives you peace, which will triumph over all understanding. And the peace of God is better than everything. Other than, it's hard to say the peace of God is better than everything, because everything about God is beautiful, love, and all that. But it's great, man. It's great. So the 4 things, like I said, the 5 things that kept them stuck in order, not stuck in order, that listen to me, that made them mishandle the middle is evil desires, idolatry, sexual immorality. They tested God and they grumbled and complained. And I saw this quote today. It says, when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. When a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. And what's pleasuring to you? Evil desires, idolatry, social media. Like, you lacking a deep sense of meaning, not because you're not special, or not because you don't have purpose, but just because you haven't went to God. You don't have a personal relationship with God, because also that comes with a deep sense of meaning. You want to know what you're here for. I know, me too. And I'm glad that God is showing me. But since I have a deep sense of meaning, it's easier to stay away from certain pleasures, because I understand that doesn't fulfill me like the life God has for me. But you have to gain your deep sense of meaning as well through your relationship with God. So point 4, danger of mishandling the middle. The danger of mishandling the middle. So we've seen all these things happen to the Israelites. They got freed. They, went through the Red Sea. They followed God through a cloud. All these beautiful things happen for them. And then right outside their promised land, God tells Moses, hey, and this is a short summary. Don't beat me up too bad. Like, go study it, the story, go read it. You'll find way more in-depth context of what happened that will fit along with my story just fine. But we can see, we don't want to make this a 3-part series. We'll be on, it'd be like Netflix. We watching a series, a documentary, 3 weeks of one story. So we don't want to make it that long. So I can't give you every single small detail. But we see all those things that they went through, and now they're right outside the promised land. And Numbers 13 is where it says, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, send men out to spy the land of Canaan, which I am giving. Oh, I just now read that for the first time. I seen it. But now it just hit me. Which I am giving. Oh, man, that's so good. I am giving this to you. I am giving to the people of Israel. No matter what you go see on this spying trip, remember my word. I am giving. Like, not go spy out the land that I have called y'all to go to. Not go spy out the land that I've called y'all to conquer. Not go spy out the land that I've told y'all to take over. A land that I am giving. You have nothing else to do but to have faith and obey what I am saying, because I am giving it to you. It's my gift to you. Moses told them to go up into the hill country and see what the land is, and whether the people who dwell it are strong or weak, whether they are few or many, whether the land that they dwell in is good or bad, and whether the cities that they dwell in are camps or strongholds, and whether the land is rich and poor, whether there's trees in it and all that good stuff. He was just saying, basically, be spies, which I am sending you to be. Which sometimes, and there's no knock on Moses, but I even feel like if God told him, I am giving this to you, some of the stuff he told them to go even peep out probably wasn't even necessary. Whether they strong or weak shouldn't matter. God has given it to us. It doesn't matter if they strong or weak. Whether they big or small shouldn't matter. God has given it to. He didn't say let's go spy it out and strategically get ready for war. He said go spy it out because I am giving it to you. And that's the type of stuff, the small words you got to read when you read in scripture, because that'll bless your soul, man. That'll change your whole outlook on it. But they stayed for 40 days and then they returned from spying out the land. And they came to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation, everybody were there. And they said, we came to the land to which you sent us. It flows with milk and honey, just like God said. And this is it, fruit. They bought us some fruit back. However, what they about to say, they should have left it at that. However, the people who dwell in the land are strong and the cities are fortified and very large. So basically they came with some bad news, but Caleb, remember Caleb from the beginning where he said Caleb had a good report from God. Asked him, that was one of the people who said was going to go into the promised land. So let's see what Caleb said. Trying to make it dramatic. It's a Monday morning or whenever you're watching this, we got to make it dramatic. But Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it. Great statement, Caleb. That's great faith, my brother. Then the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we are. So they brought the people of Israel a bad report of the land. So they brought the people of Israel a bad report of the land that they had spied out, saying, I'm over here finger reading. The land through which we have gone to spy it out is a land that devours it devours its inhabitants. And all the people we saw there are of great height. So they brought the people of Israel a bad report. And that made everybody else fearful. And that made everybody else doubt. And that made everybody else not want to go conquer. One man said, we're more than able. The rest said, nah. Really two, because Joshua was on Caleb's side. Two of those spies was the only ones that said, we can do this. And the rest of them was like, nah, we can't fight. Like, they didn't even have a chance of like, you think so? They was like, no, this ain't it. No, this ain't it. Death mentality. And my question is, do you have a bad report or a good report of your life right now? Do you have a bad report or a good report of your life right now? How can I tell the difference, Tyler? Do you look at your life as God has put you through or God has brought you through? That's good. Because I'm finna explain this to you to show you how it's good. If you look at your life as, and let me explain why the Israelites, if you look at your life as God has put you through, every single obstacle that you have came through in your life, you looking at it as like, God has put me through this. God has put me through this. God has put me through that. So when another thing that you're called to seems big and seems like it's going to bring some confrontation or some conflict that you just can't deal with, that was me right after depression. Oh my goodness. Even to this day, when I think about my future, sometimes I have that death mentality. And if I think about, it's going to be some obstacles to overcome, some trials and tribulations, I'm like, don't sign me up, because I think I done been through enough. If you look at it like that, though, you will be fearful to go to something that God is calling you to, because you already feel like I done been put through enough. See, the Israelites they were always so close to getting captured. Like, even when the Egyptians first came to get them when they was at the Red Sea, they was chilling by the Red Sea and they saw the Egyptians and they was so close that they were like, oh Lord, we finna die. It's over. They was always so close to it all ending, and God made a way. But when you always on the edge, that can make you feel like, okay, God, you put me through that anxiety. You put me through all this. Or you can be like, ooh, thank God. God, you brought me through. So the difference is, if you look at it as God brought you through everything, when you see something that looks bigger than you in the future, you like, oh, God brought me through that in the past, so I know he'll bring me through this in the future. Do you have a good report or a bad report? And that's the difference between the faith mentality and the death mentality. God brought me through all that stuff, man. I believe and I trust in him because this is the point. Point 1, 2, and 3 were also you didn't go through this danger of mishandling the middle. God changes your idea of yourself so you wouldn't go through mishandling in the middle. God didn't want you to miss the point. Hey, you need a personal relationship with me so you won't be getting caught up in the distractions in the wildernesses in the middle. Hey, you need a personal relationship with me so I can give you peace. So I can give you all the things that only I can provide for your soul. And mishandling in the middle, when you're in the middle, if you're not a student to that season, you're at very high risk of giving your life a bad report. And you probably doing it. I've been put through a lot. And the point is, each level or each season as you grow that God calls you to is going to be more difficult than the last. That's just how it is. That's why when you in high school, you like, oh, I'm ready to get to college because it's not much responsibility. But when you get to college, you're like, dang, I miss high school. And then when you get out of college, you're like, dang, I miss college. And then you in your, single season, or you may be having a boyfriend, girlfriend, and then you had kids, you're like, ooh, I miss that fridge. Not because you don't like where you at, but because where you at has more responsibility now. And that's how it is with God. The more you go and the more you grow, it's going to come with more responsibilities. And those things happening to you in your past where it seemed like God put you through, but he really brought you through, wasn't to make you have fear of the future. It was for you to have faith that he would provide for you in the future. Like, if I did it before, I can do it again. Same God right now, same God back then. If he did it before, he can do it again. Same God, that song. That's his point. Hey, Tyler, you don't remember when I brought you through all that? So why are you fearing where you at right now? Have I not proven that I am worthy to be trusted? Have I not proven that I am worthy to be loved? Have I not proven that I'm worth having faith in? Trust in me. I got you. So do you have a bad report or a good report on your life? The goodness of your report shouldn't be on how small your circumstances is. Like if your circumstances or the giant that's in front of you is small, oh, I got a good report. But if it's big, I got a bad report. No, the goodness of your report shouldn't be based on circumstances, but it should be based on how big your God is, no matter how big your circumstances is. I should have a good report on my life I should have a good report on my life. I look like I just apologized to my mic, but I was apologizing to y'all. I should have a good report on my life in every single season, because no matter how big my circumstances look in front of me, I know how big my God is. Because way back when I was going through this, or way back then when I was going through that, God never failed me. And if he never failed me, why shouldn't I trust him right now, even if I'm caught up in the moment of these circumstances, tearing my butt up? Why not trust him? Why not trust him that he can bring you through this season? That's the true question. So it's good to talk to God like a friend, talk to him, tell him what's going on with your circumstances. But don't leave and that be the end of the conversation. Go tell your circumstances. Okay, I just told God about what's going on, and be ready. Don't leave just feeling like, oh, I just got something out my chest, and go deal with those circumstances still by yourself. No, go tell your circumstances how big your God is. Don't just tell God how big your circumstances is. Like, okay, I just told God he should be here any minute soon. So, that's how we should look at it. If you never trust in God's provision for you, you will never take a chance on a calling or a future that he has placed in front of you, because you don't have faith. So if you don't trust that God will provide and God will give what he said he would give to you, because circumstances look too big or things look too big, or you don't have a good enough idea of yourself, you'll miss out on the life that God has promised to give you just because you didn't take a chance on it, not because he didn't want to give it. And if you miss out if you don't let God change your idea of yourself, if you miss the point of having a personal relationship, which leads to mishandling the middle, and you keep that death mentality, it only leads to two things. And the first thing it leads to is the fear of the future. Fear of the future. This dude said, not this dude, but these folks said, we seem to ourselves like grasshoppers to them. We seem like ourselves like grasshoppers to them. We are not able to go up against them, for they are stronger. They are bigger. We can't do it. Death mentality brought them a fear of the future. It's because they missed the Remember I said the wilderness isn't a season of nothingness. It's a season of where God is reestablishing you, reworking your life, rebuilding your heart, doing all these things, making you in the image and building you up in him so that you won't look at yourself like you used to. But they missed the so they still look like at themselves as slaves instead of conquerors. Nah, we really not worth that much. We're nothing but slaves from Egypt. But God put them through all that to show them they was far more than that, but they couldn't realize it because they was distracted in those times where it was time to be a student of the season. So they missed the They didn't look at themselves no different. They still looked at themselves like they did whenever they was in Egypt as slaves. Like, I'm not worth being a king. I'm just a slave. I'm not worth being a child of the king either. I'm just a slave. Like, they missed the Numbers 14, 6 through 10 right here. So after they said, nah, we just can't do it, Joshua and Caleb got so frustrated, bro. They started ripping their clothes, started getting frustrated, and they just told them, look, the land which we passed through to spy it out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, he will bring us into this land and give it to us. It's a land that flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord and do not fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Ooh, listen to that faith talk. Listen to that faith talk. Don't fear these people. I don't care if they bread for us. Their protection is removed from them and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. Do not fear them. You hear how people talk when they got an intimate relationship with God, because it just brings so much courage. It brings so much wisdom. It brings so much, all that, man. Like, you don't doubt when you have a personal relationship with God because you have seen what he brought you through. And you understand that if God is calling me to it, then I can do it. If God is for me, who can be against me? All these beautiful sayings, like, you don't doubt. That's a person right there talking out of straight intimacy with God. But then all the congregation said to stone them with stones. They basically want to kill them because they sounded like they had too much faith. They sounded like they had too much faith. See, when you have intimacy with God, you will say and do things that seem dumb to others, but will be counted as faith by God. You will do things that sound dumb and seems dumb to others, even to the point they want to kill them. Like, bro, no, you talking stupid. Kill them, bro. I'm tired of it. Like, let me live in my fear. Huh? What? Kill them. I'm tired of it. Sick of it. They sound dumb. Did they not see the people we was going up against? We seem to ourselves too small. Why are they saying we can conquer? Because they had intimate relationship with God. They didn't miss the point. They didn't miss the point of I am who I am. And I created this world and I'm able and I'm capable and I do what I want to do. I'm not dependent on nobody else. When I want to move, I move. That's that God talk. When he talk like that, you already better jump on the bandwagon because he finna make some things shake in your life. But if you let fear hold you hostage, you'll miss that wagon or that bandwagon, whatever you want to call it, you miss that train that's going forward. Because at the end of the day, as we finna see in this story, God can move with somebody. Like, people walking into their promised life every day. Why not you? People are experiencing God's promises come true in their life every single day. Why not you? Why not us? Why not this city? Why not people that live? Why, you know what I'm saying? Why not your neighborhood? For me, I want to see Chillsburg witness that. Why not us? Why not us? Why not let's start a movement where God is just moving everybody's life and people are seeing this, the promises, and this whole city change. And this whole city lose a death mentality of thinking, oh, I didn't make it in one thing, so I'm going to just settle and fall into the customs that everybody else doing. Instead of being like, nah, I didn't make it in that, but let me get a relationship with God to figure out what I genuinely, truly do love doing. What fulfills me? What fuels me? What causes me to just walk out on so much faith that people may say, oh, that's dumb. But God counts it as faith. That's faith mentality, man. Joshua and Caleb was ready to go. They was about it. Not because anything was special about them, because they knew what was special about who they trusted. It causes you to have a fear of the future. And secondly, it causes you to be deceived that more was before. A death mentality causes you to be deceived that more was before. If we look at verse 3 and 14, chapter 14, verses 3 and 4, it says, all the people, verse 2, all the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The whole congregation said to them, would it not been better if we died in Egypt, bro? Or would that have, that we had died in the wilderness? Why is the Lord bringing us all the way here to fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will become prey to these people. Would it not be better for us to go back to Egypt? Oh my goodness. They so deceived that more was before. Would it not be better for us to go back to Egypt? And I can't even be mad at them about this. I can be. But I understand that as humans, we're always so eager to go to what's familiar when unfamiliar seems too uncomfortable. We so quick to fall back on what we know when what we don't know becomes too uncomfortable. See, it's easier to fall back into a place of where even if we was miserable, we still know the outcome. We still know what we're going to get. We're going to work all day. We're going to get fed that night. We're going to sleep. But while we out here, we don't know what's going on. We don't know if God really, even though God told us, we don't have a personal relationship enough to trust that he's going to provide and be who he say he's going to be. Even though he done did it for us time after time again. I don't know. I think I need to go back to Egypt. And it's like God was looking at them like, do you not remember? Do you not remember Egypt? Do you not remember how miserable you were in Egypt? Do you not remember that? Do you not remember you was crying for me, literally crying out for me to rescue you? Now you want to go back just because you don't trust in me. It's not that I'm not coming through. It's you not having faith in me. Do you not remember? I remember when I first began starting this podcast, and it was August or September, and my friends was going back to school, and they was, telling me about their first day and stuff. And I was in a season of just unfamiliar. I was in a season of just hoping this would go good. I didn't know what none of this looked like. I got videos that I'm going to post one day of where I was just sitting in here. It was just this couch. None of this was here, not even the plant. My iMac was on the floor. The sound wasn't up. I was just on one of the videos, I was like, man, I want to give up, but I'm making this video just for future reference so I can keep pushing and have something to look like. The unfamiliar made me legit want to wish I was back in school. Every time. I used to be like, man, I just wish I was still in school. Not because school was fun or not because I enjoyed school, but because I knew what to expect from it. It was familiar. It was easier to go back to what I was familiar with, even if it was miserable, than being in unfamiliar and trusting that God gonna work something out for me. Until, this the catch, until I talked to one of my friends and was like, yo, bro, I ain't doing too much about to write this 15-page paper. Oh, yeah, I don't miss school. I remember sitting at my apartment table, miserable as ever, couldn't wait to graduate. Since you said that, and my other homie would be like, yeah, bro, about to take this little 100-question test right quick, or Oh yeah, bro, I gotta go study, so I'm gonna hit you up later. Don't miss that at all. Actually happy that you told me that, bro, because that was what I was praying for. I used to tell my friend, I can't wait to get out of school. I'm gonna have so much free time to do my calling and not be interfered with stuff like this. And then I was wishing to go back just because of the season that I was in was unfamiliar and it was so much anxiety that I want to go back to what was familiar. Did you go back? Are you living in your went back? What have you went back to that was just so familiar because the unfamiliar scared you away? Did you go back? Did you go back to the same sin patterns? Did you go back to the same life cycles? Did you go back to the same negative thoughts? Did you go back to the same settling, to the same whatever? You know what your go back is. When you tried God and things got a little unfamiliar and things got a little uncomfortable, did you go back? Did you go back? Never let your familiar make you foolish. Never let your familiar make you foolish. Because you foolish if you go back to something that you used to pray God would get you out of. Just because it's familiar. Just because it's comfortable. Just because you're scared of what's next and don't trust God. Don't let it make you foolish. Stagnant seems like a best friend because it lets you stay there for nothing. Nada. Like if stagnant was your best friend, you can go sleep on their couch every single day and they wouldn't cause you nothing. Because all they gonna say is, what you getting into today? Same old, same old. Your life same old is because you went back. Your life just going through the motion, wandering through the wilderness is because you went back. Did you go back? Death mentality causes you to do those two things. And our last point is this right here. Stop missing your shot. Stop missing your shot or don't miss your shot, whichever one. Stop missing your shot or don't miss your shot. And this is where I said we'll talk about testing God right here. Numbers 14:11. This is after they was about to kill them boys for talking out of faith to God. But God intervened and asked Moses, how long will these people despise me? Which means they don't really care to have a relationship with me. They think I'm worthless. And how long will they not believe in me in spite of all the signs that I have done for them? How long will these people despise me and how long will they not believe in me? You know, it comes a point in time where, you know, we keep testing God and keep testing God. And what you, like I said earlier, what you mean by testing God is we just keep on, oh, God will forgive me. Oh, I got tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Or I'll do it next week. Oh, yeah, I got time. Oh, God will forgive me if I do this. But how long will he? But how long? You know, it's a legit thing where you can miss your promised life. Just like they missed their promised land. And that's my biggest desire with this message. I don't want us to miss our shot. I want us all to experience that. I want us legit, all of us to experience the life God has for us. But it's possible that we won't. It is a chance. Like God is so good and so patient. But for how long? He said, for how long? There's legit a point in time where you can miss your shot. You can miss the opportunity to go to your promised land, your promised life. Go up to 22, and this is where we started at. So we came from the beginning all the way to the end. It says, none of the men who have seen my glory and my signs that I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and yet have put me to the test these 10 times. Put me to the test these 10 times and have not obeyed my voice shall see the promised land that I promised them and their fathers. I said their fathers. Put me to the test these 10 times. Put me to the test these 10 times. That stood out to me. Little small catches like that. Said, you know, you can look at that as he blessed them literally 10 times, or he's talking about 10 big blessings that he did for them, not counting the small ones. Point is, however you look at it, it just shows how good God is because he literally blessed them and he blesses us and hope that we would turn our heart from the world and turn it to him. He sent blessings our way. He could send some, in which he do want to come before destruction. It's just whichever one he decides to do. But when we really focus in the word, he sent blessings our way and like, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. He sent blessings our way. I'm here. And he just hope we can turn away from the world and come to him after we see how good he is to us. And a lot of times I go on social media and, people will be like, yeah, we got these blessings from God, blessings from God, blessings from God, blessings from God. But don't follow him and like their whole lives are not modeled by him. And what I realize is that those blessings are signs, not satisfaction. Let me pull up this verse. Those blessings are signs. Hey, I'm blessing you. Come home. Come to me. Not blessings of satisfaction. How you know that, Tyler? You saying a bold statement. Oh, okay. All right. Romans 2:4 says this. Don't you see how wonderfully kind? Oh, I like the Passion Translation of this one. Let's do this one. Romans 2:4 says, do the riches of his extraordinary kindness make you take him for granted and despise him? Take him for granted, that's testing God. Oh, okay, yeah, we can just do what we want and he'll forgive us. Taking him for granted and despise him. God said those two things is what those people did. It says, do the riches of his extraordinary kindness make you take him for granted and despise him? Haven't you experienced how kind and understanding he has been to you? Now listen, if this ain't been something you experienced in your life, I'm surprised, but don't listen. But I know this is something we all didn't experience. If we got any kind of sense of God, we know God been good to us even through all our mistakes. But I don't want us to confuse his blessings of approval with his blessings of signs. You get what I'm saying? It said, haven't you experienced how kind and understand he has been to you? Listen to this now. Don't mistake his tolerance for acceptance. Oh, say it again, Tyler, because I don't think somebody was probably on their phone doing something else. I said, don't mistake his tolerance for acceptance. Do you realize that all the wealth of his extravagant kindness is meant to melt your heart and lead you into repentance and lead you into a life with him? Which means that some blessings we get are signs to come home. Don't mistake his tolerance for acceptance. Don't mistake his tolerance. That's a beautiful verse. I just want to keep reading that one. That's such a good verse, man. Because he said these 10 times, which means I done did so many blessings for y'all and you still despise me. You still don't appreciate me. You still take me for granted. I done did all these blessings for you and you haven't taken me serious yet. Therefore, I'm canceling out on you making it to your promised land. And what's so crazy about this is this was the end of their lives. Like this was the end of God saying like, you're not making it to the promised land, not the end of their lives. For the next 40 years, which God telling them, you're going to be in the wilderness up to 40 years now. In this generation, 20 and up, whoever didn't believe in me ain't going to make it. Ain't going to make it into their promised land. That was the end of basically his being with them and telling them, hey, I'll get y'all in the promised land, but not the end of their lives. So for the next 40 years, whoever made it all them 40 years, if you died the next day, I don't want to say you was lucky because you might didn't get in heaven, but if you died the next day, you probably lucky. For real. Because you didn't have to deal with 40 years of God not being there and it was just a whole lot of wondering. Man, is that your life right now? If so, you still here. God, hey, he forgives. As I said last week, man, he forgives just as good as he can stop you from getting that promised land. He can open that door back up, but he want to see your heart change. He want to see your heart truly desire him. Because that's the difference between a death mentality and a faith mentality. He said, not one of you except Caleb and Joshua. And Caleb shall, because he has a different spirit and followed me fully. See, what was physically different about Caleb and Joshua? They saw the same people. They had the same size. What was physically different about them? Nothing. But everything was different about them mentally. That's a big difference in when you have faith in God or fear of your circumstances. See, God allowed them to live through a generation that, even though that generation wasn't obeying and wasn't following, wasn't caring about God, he let them live through that and still brought them out of it. But that's the difference between a death mentality and a faith mentality. See, Moses told them, after God told Moses to tell them, none of y'all getting in, y'all just gonna die in the wilderness. The people mourned, and it hurt my heart when I read that. It said the people mourned. But then I didn't really feel too bad for them after they did this, which I did because this is just deception that we all can get caught up in. But it says the people mourned and they decided to go up there on their own. Like, God just told you to go up there and spy it out and you were scared. But now that he said you can't get it no more, you going to make your own decision to follow your own will and go up there on your own. And God told him, told Moses, don't go up there. I ain't with them now. But they got their war weapons ready. They war weapons. They got them war weapons ready. Got up there and got smacked. I'm talking, it said they ran them from town to town, the people that was fighting up there. But check the difference between faith mentality. See, Joshua was the one who was appointed next after Moses died to be the leader. And when Joshua and his generation went, God didn't tell them to get their war weapons ready. He told them to march around the city for 7 days. And on the seventh day, do it 7 times. And each day blow the trumpet. And on the 7th day, scream out a praise to me. And the walls will fall and you will overtake it. That's crazy, ain't it? Isaiah 55:8 says it like this: my ways are not your ways and my thoughts are not your thoughts. See, you thought you was going to have to fight for it, but I just wanted you to praise for it. Ooh, that's good. Oh, my goodness. You thought you was going to have to fight to get in your promised land. I needed that right there. Because it's like I was talking earlier, I ain't be really want to. Ooh, I needed that. That was for me. That one was for me. Like I just said earlier, I used to think like, nah, if the future got some type of trouble or trials, don't sign me up. God is just saying, you ain't even got to fight though. I just want you to praise. Your praise is your fight. And your praise is easy when you got a personal relationship with me, because that worthiness is all on your heart to the point that you just let it ride. That's why I said in the last episode last week, like people not just showboating innocent, man. Like they is joyful. You see me posting on Instagram, that is joy, pure joy. Like God has been good to me. See, when you're in a relationship with God, he proves his worthiness. He proves his worthiness. Your praise is better than your fight. Your praise is better than your fight. See, small faith comes with big favor. God said, just have a faith of a mustard seed and you can tell that mountain to move. Because it's not in your ability. It's in my ability. It's in your ability to believe, but it's in my ability to achieve. I am who I am. I am in who I am. And the people who did the biggest thing, even David and Goliath, which is a story a lot of people know, he didn't accomplish anything because of his physical appearance or because he was strong or he was just outrageously gifted. He was the underdog by every mean. But his faith is what made him accomplish something so wonderful that generations on generations know about it. But what about your faith? What about your faith? So to close it out, I want us to understand we must stop focusing on missing the shot though. See, you can't worry about missing the shot because that's the same thing as wanting God's hand. You can't worry about making it into your promised land. Like, okay, let me do right just so I can get in my promised land. We got to stop focusing on missing the shot and go all the way back to where we've been missing the point. I am who I am. I've brought you to myself. I freed you so we can freely have a relationship with each other. Enjoy my presence, not just my blessings. Enjoy my love, not just what I can give. It's like God is saying, bro, the more you want my hand, like you missing a whole lot more of me. Like you missing a whole lot more of me. Don't just want my hand. Come get my hugs. Come get my love. Come get my joy, my peace. Come get every part of me that I'm willing to give you easily. We must stop focusing on missing the shot and go all the way back to where we've been missing the point. Even more so, go back to where we have a negative idea of ourselves that causes us to not even get to the point. I love y'all so much, man. And this week 2, I told y'all these episodes long, but hey, this was a beautiful message, man. I ain't never gave a message and it was changing me in the middle of it. And I wrote it for I've been sitting on this message for 2-3 weeks, really since September 8th, and it's still touched my life, man, as I'm giving it. I hope it touched y'all life so much, bro. I hope it changed, and I hope people really start walking into their wilderness with a pen and paper. God, what do you want me to learn? And I really hope people start walking into their promised life, including me. I'm a student of my season right now. I love y'all so much, man. Ready to see y'all again next week. It's been fun. I'm so happy to be back.